way we see ourselves shapes every decision we make, every goal we set, and every challenge we face. It's like looking into a mirror that doesn't just reflect our face, but the entirety of who we believe we are. And here's the thing, that reflection, more often than not, is distorted by doubt, fear, and the stories we've been told about ourselves. But today we're breaking that mirror. Imagine for a moment that your self-image is like the foundation of a house. If that foundation is weak, it doesn't matter how beautiful the house is, it will eventually crumble. If you see yourself as incapable, unworthy, or stuck, your actions will reflect those beliefs. You'll hesitate, procrastinate, or give up altogether. On the other hand, if you truly believe you're strong, capable, and deserving, you'll take actions that align with those beliefs. This isn't just about self-esteem. It's about rewiring your brain to work for you instead of against you. The mind is incredibly powerful, but it's also incredibly suggestible. Every time you tell yourself, "I can't do this," your brain believes it and looks for evidence to support that belief. But the moment you flip the script and say, "I am capable," your brain starts to work in your favor. Let's start by talking about how these beliefs even take root. Think back to when you were a child. Maybe someone told you that you weren't good at something, and you believed them. Maybe you failed at something once, and that failure became a label you carried for years. Over time, these small moments snowballed into your identity. But here's the truth. Those labels, those beliefs, they're not facts. They're just stories. And stories can be rewritten. Right now, you might be thinking, that sounds nice, but how do I actually change the way I see myself? The first step is awareness. Most of us go through life on autopilot, never questioning the thoughts that run through our minds. But if you start to pay attention, you'll notice patterns. Maybe you automatically think, "I'm not smart enough," or "I'm not attractive enough." These thoughts feel so natural that you don't even question them. But they're just thoughts, they're not the truth. Once you're aware of these patterns, the next step is to challenge them. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me, or is it holding me back? Let's say you think, "I'm not good at public speaking." Instead of accepting that as a fact, question it. When did you decide that? What evidence do you have to support it? And even if it's true, is it something you can improve? Here's a little experiment I want you to try. Close your eyes and visualize the version of yourself that you aspire to be. Maybe this version of you is confident, successful, and happy. Picture it in as much detail as possible. What does that version of you look like? How do they talk, walk, and carry themselves? The more vividly you can imagine this version of yourself, the more real it will start to feel. Now here's the key. Start acting like that version of yourself today. If the future you is confident, start walking with confidence right now. If the future you is disciplined, start making disciplined choices today. You don't have to wait to become that person. You can start embodying those traits right now. One of the biggest barriers to changing the way we see ourselves is fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of stepping out of our comfort zones. But here's the thing. Fear is just a sign that you're about to grow. Every time you feel afraid, it's an opportunity to challenge the limits you've placed on yourself. Let me share a story with you. There was a man who dreamed of becoming a successful entrepreneur, but he was paralyzed by self-doubt. He kept telling himself, "I'm not smart enough. I don't have the right skills. And what if I fail?" One day, he decided to write down every fear he had about himself. As he looked at the list, he realized that most of his fears were based on assumptions, not facts. He decided to prove his fears wrong one by one. Today, that man runs a multi-million-dollar business. The lesson here is that your fears are just shadows. They feel real, but they have no substance. The moment you confront them, they start to disappear. Another powerful way to change the way you see yourself is through the people you surround yourself with. Think about it. If you're constantly around people who doubt you or criticize you, it's going to be incredibly hard to see yourself in a positive light. But if you're surrounded by people who believe in you and uplift you, their confidence in you will start to rub off. This doesn't mean you have to cut everyone out of your life, but it does mean you need to be intentional about the energy you allow into your space. Seek out mentors, friends, and communities that align with the person you want to become. Now let's talk about the importance of small wins. Transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of consistent, small actions over time. If you want to change the way you see yourself, Start by setting small, achievable goals. Every time you achieve a goal, no matter how small, you're building evidence that supports a positive self-image. For example, if you've always seen yourself as someone who's not disciplined, start by setting a tiny goal, like drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning. Once you've accomplished that, set another small goal, and another. Over time, these small wins will start to compound, and you'll begin to see yourself as someone who is disciplined and capable. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered so far. Changing the way you see yourself isn't about ignoring reality or pretending to be something you're not. It's about recognizing that you are not defined by your past, your failures, or your fears. You have the power to rewrite your story. Starting today, imagine how different your life could be if you truly believed in yourself. What opportunities would you pursue? What risks would you take? What kind of life would you create? You don't have to wait for permission to change. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is right now. So start today. Start small, and remember, every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward the person you're meant to become. You might wonder why this is so difficult. Why is it that even when we want to change, it feels like something is holding us back? That something is often our subconscious mind. Over the years, your mind has absorbed countless beliefs, some empowering, but many limiting. These beliefs are deeply ingrained and they run on autopilot. The good news is, with conscious effort, you can reprogram them. Let me share a powerful method to start shifting those subconscious patterns. Affirmations. Now, I know what you're thinking. Affirmations sound like empty words, but science tells us that repeated positive statements can rewire your brain. The trick is to believe in them, even if just a little. Instead of saying, I am a millionaire, which your mind might reject, try saying, I am learning to create wealth. It bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Every morning, stand in front of a mirror and speak affirmations that reflect the person you want to become. Say things like, I am confident, I am disciplined, or I am capable of achieving my goals. Say them with conviction, even if you don't fully believe them yet. Over time, your brain will start to align with these new beliefs. Let's talk about another critical piece of the puzzle: gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for shifting your mindset and changing the way you see yourself. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you stop dwelling on what's missing. This creates a mindset of abundance, which opens the door for even more positivity to flow into your life. Here's an exercise. Every night, before you go to bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. It could be as simple as a good cup of coffee or a kind word from a friend. Over time, this practice trains your brain to focus on the positive, which directly impacts how you see yourself and your life. Now, let's address one of the biggest obstacles to self-transformation: comparison. In today's world, it's easier than ever to compare yourself to others. Social media bombards us with highlight reels of other people's lives, making us feel like we're not enough. But here's the truth. You are not in competition with anyone else. The only person you need to compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. When you stop comparing and start focusing on your own journey, something magical happens. You free yourself from the pressure to live up to others' expectations, and you start living authentically. Authenticity brings us to a critical point: self-compassion. So many of us are our own harshest critics. We beat ourselves up for every mistake, every failure, every perceived shortcoming. But think about it. Would you ever speak to a friend the way you speak to yourself? Probably not. It's time to start treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to someone you care about. The next time you catch yourself thinking, I'm not good enough, or I always mess things up, stop and ask, would I say this to a friend? If the answer is no, replace that thought with something kinder and more constructive. Let's dig deeper into the power of visualization. I mentioned earlier how important it is to picture the version of yourself you aspire to be. But let's take that a step further. Visualization isn't just about imagining, it's about feeling. When you visualize your ideal self, don't just see it, feel it. What does it feel like to be confident, successful, and fulfilled? Tap into those emotions as vividly as you can. This process sends a powerful signal to your brain. This is who I am becoming. The more you practice, the more your brain starts to bridge the gap between who you are and who you want to be. Another key to changing the way you see yourself is embracing discomfort. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. If you want to transform your self-image, you have to step outside of your comfort zone. It might feel scary at first, but every time you push through discomfort, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. Let me tell you about a woman named Sarah. Sarah was terrified of public speaking. She saw herself as someone who would always fade into the background, never commanding attention. But one day, she decided to challenge that belief. She signed up for a small speaking class and forced herself to give a 2-minute speech. It wasn't perfect, her voice shook, and she stumbled over her words. But she did it. And the moment she stepped off that stage, she realized something. She was capable of more than she had ever given herself credit for. Today, Sarah is a motivational speaker who inspires thousands. And it all started with one small step outside her comfort zone. This brings us to the concept of momentum. The hardest part of any journey is taking the first step. But once you do, momentum starts to build. Each small win gives you the confidence to take the next step, and then the next. Before you know it, you've transformed your self-image and your life. But what happens when you stumble? Because let's be real, you will stumble. You'll face setbacks, doubt, and days when it feels like you're not making progress. When that happens, remember this. Progress is not linear. Growth is messy, and that's okay. When you fall, don't see it as failure, see it as a lesson. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Every setback is an opportunity to grow, stronger and more resilient. As we near the end of this journey, I want to leave you with one final thought. The way you see yourself is not set in stone. It's a dynamic, ever-changing narrative that you have the power to rewrite at any moment. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are a work in progress, and that's something to be proud of. So take a deep breath and look in the mirror, not the distorted one created by doubt and fear, but the mirror of possibility. What do you see? Who do you want to become? The answers to those questions are entirely up to you. Your story is just beginning, and you hold the pen. Start writing the next chapter today, and make it a masterpiece. Now, as you stand on the edge of this new chapter, I want you to realize something truly powerful. Every single day is an opportunity to start fresh. It doesn't matter what mistakes you've made in the past, how many times you've doubted yourself, or even how others have defined you. The way you see yourself is a story you've told yourself, and stories can be rewritten. Imagine waking up tomorrow with a blank slate. Instead of carrying the weight of yesterday, you decide to approach the day with curiosity, courage, and purpose. Imagine choosing to see yourself as someone who is capable, deserving, and unstoppable. This shift in mindset isn't just transformative, it's liberating. But let's ground this in reality, because change doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. So, what's the first step? Take a moment to truly observe your current self-perception. What do you believe about yourself right now? Write it down. Be honest. Then, look at those beliefs and ask yourself, are they serving me? If not, it's time to let them go. The next step is to actively cultivate empowering beliefs. This requires intention. Surround yourself with influences that uplift and inspire you. Books, people, podcasts, or even environments that fuel your growth. You see, our environment plays a huge role in shaping the way we see ourselves. If you surround yourself with negativity or people who doubt you, it becomes harder to rise above. But when you immerse yourself in positivity and ambition, it creates an ecosystem where your transformation can thrive. Let me share a real-world example. There's a concept called the Pygmalion effect. It's a psychological phenomenon where high expectations lead to improved performance. When others believe in you, it often inspires you to rise to the occasion. But here's the kicker. You don't need to wait for others to believe in you. You can become your own greatest supporter. Think of it this way. If you don't believe in yourself, how can you expect anyone else to? Start small. Give yourself permission to dream big, to pursue goals that excite you, and to celebrate every little victory along the way. Another important point is the way you speak to yourself. Your inner dialogue is a mirror reflecting how you see yourself. Pay attention to the words you use. Are you lifting yourself up or tearing yourself down? For every negative thought that creeps in, counter it with something positive. For example, if you think, I'm not smart enough, replace it with, I am constantly learning and growing. This practice might feel strange at first, but over time, it rewires your brain to see yourself in a more empowering light. As we move forward, I want to challenge you with something profound. Imagine the highest version of yourself. What does that version of you look like? Act like and think like? Picture it vividly. Now ask yourself, what would that version of me do today? This exercise helps bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Each day, take one action that aligns with the person you aspire to become. Over time, these small actions compound into massive transformation. Remember, transformation isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Some days will feel easy, while others will test your patience and resolve. On those tougher days, remind yourself why you started. Your journey is bigger than any temporary obstacle. And as you embark on this journey, don't forget to celebrate your growth. Even the smallest steps forward deserve recognition because they're evidence that you're changing the way you see yourself. Now let's talk about something that truly solidifies this transformation: helping others. When you lift someone else up, you reinforce your own growth. Share your story, encourage a friend, or simply offer a kind word to someone who needs it. When you see yourself as someone who has the power to inspire and uplift others, it changes how you perceive your own worth. You realize that your journey is not just about you, it's about the ripple effect you create in the world. As we close, I want you to sit with this thought. The way you see yourself is the foundation for everything you'll ever achieve in life. If you believe you're capable, deserving and resilient, there's no limit to what you can accomplish. So start today, start now. Rewrite your story. And don't just see yourself differently, become the person you were always meant to be. The world is waiting for your light. You've made it this far, and that alone speaks volumes about your commitment to change. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final, powerful thought. You are the author of your own life. No one else holds the pen. Every thought, every choice, every action you take is another line in your story. You don't have to live under the weight of past mistakes or let the opinions of others define your potential. The way you see yourself today doesn't have to be the way you see yourself tomorrow. Transformation is not a one-time event. It's a journey of becoming, a journey that starts with a single decision to see yourself differently. Ask yourself this: what would happen if you truly believed in your potential? What if you stopped doubting yourself, stopped waiting for the perfect moment, and just started? Let me tell you what will happen. You'll begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You'll find strength you didn't know you had. You'll unlock a version of yourself that is fearless, capable, and unstoppable. But here's the truth: no one can do this for you. The power to change lies within you. It's not in some distant future, not in someone else's hands. It's here, now, in this very moment. So, take a deep breath, close your eyes if you need to. Picture the version of yourself you've always dreamed of becoming. That version of you is already within you, waiting to be unleashed. The only thing standing in the way is your perception. Now, I want you to make a promise, not to me, but to yourself. Promise to see yourself with compassion. Promise to challenge the doubts that hold you back. Promise to give yourself permission to grow, to fail, and to rise again. As you open your eyes and step back into the world, carry this energy with you. Let it fuel your actions, your thoughts, your decisions. The world needs people who are willing to see themselves for who they truly are. Powerful, worthy, and capable of greatness. Your journey to transformation starts now. Remember, you are not defined by where you've been, but by where you're going. See yourself as the hero of your story, and then live in a way that makes that story worth telling. The way you see yourself is your most powerful tool for shaping your reality. So dream big, believe in yourself, and take that first step toward becoming everything you've ever imagined. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Now go out there and create the life you've always deserved. The world is waiting for the real you.